Hi, my name is Karen Holmes. I'm the founder and director of the World Peace Organization for the One World Government. I'm the principal of the organization, so I set the principles for it. I'm like the teacher of the teachers. Okay, but today I wanted to talk to you about I'm going to continue on with what I talked about in my previous video on Foucault's dilemma. And if you haven't watched it, please go back and watch it, because in that video I talked about how much of reality we really understand, and that is at a piece of paper held at arm's length and with a pinhole in it. And what we can see through that pinhole is basically how much of reality we comprehend. So today I wanted to talk about time and how that works and how that fits into the, let's say, the time and space continuum, and how much of reality we comprehend. Okay, what we believe is what is, and how our view of reality through that pinhole is based on what we believe. So when we change, and prophecy is a potential future, so it either is a warning or a promise. So that's what I wanted to explain today. I'm a prophet, and basically this is something that's kind of like if I was an artist, a potter, this would be the clay that I use. I understand this. This is my stuff. Okay, what you look at through the piece of paper is what you comprehend, but where that paper is based on what you believe. So if you see reality, I am in a warehouse, basically. This you could say this is my reality, but there's a continuum of frequency that goes all the way around the world and all the way to the end of the galaxy. I could be actually focused on any place in here. So I have, by what I believe, this is where I create my life right now. I'm creating the life I want in this warehouse. This warehouse is my shipping department, and this is what I'm focused on working now, shipping for my e-commerce website. So this is my opportunity this is where I am focused right now on my reality. But the world is very large. The universe is large, and I can actually be focused any place on the world that I want to be. And then soon, when we develop space travel and interdimensional travel, then I can be anywhere I want in the galaxy. When we started the prayer circle, we prayed for a 100-mile radius. And technically, I can be anywhere in the 100-mile radius. We focused on praying for the planet. I can be anywhere in the planet, but we also focused on the galaxy and where we fit into the galaxy, and where we had at our prayer circle, we actually had aliens coming in. So our focus actually got a little bit bigger because we were changing what we believe, and we were shifting our focus. But time is where the time-space continuum idea plays a very important role too. And that is, there's two different kinds of time. There's absolute time and there's relative time. So if I am focused, you could say, in this place right here, absolute time would be bringing in all the potential ideas of reality, and then of where we could be at any one time, and that's absolute time is the whole thing. Relative time is where I am right in here, where I am in my life right now, and that is sitting in this building and working on creating my shipping department. So my next step is to change what I believe. My next step is saying okay, I finished this. Relative time has a beginning and an end. I haven't always been here. This is just where I am focused right now, my view of out here. So it has to do with what we are, my health, my body, my hair needing to get a haircut. If I'm going to, the pandemic here shut down all the beauty salons, and it's really hard to get a haircut if the place that you've always gone to is shut down and they don't accept any more clients. So basically, I am dealing with certain issues here all the time, and like trying to get a haircut. Okay, so what I'm talking about is absolute time is a continuum of frequency that goes out, and relative time is just a beginning and end, like a life cycle, where you are in your life. You were born in a certain country, you speak a certain language, you have a certain culture, a certain religion. Okay, that is part of your what you're seeing through this thing. But all the things that are happening out there are still happening. But it's also happening on the dimensions too, because like the aliens, if we're talking about dimensions, we're talking about how they travel interdimensionally from one place to the other. Their perspective is different than ours. They are in a different part of relative time. The problem that we've had right now, the big problem that we're facing right now, is that time is ending. Is ending. Time is a construct that we are working on and to understand. And time as a construct is something that is C.S. Lewis talked about in the Narnia series. And if you go and read the Narnia series, it's an allegory for this time. In the stories he has, Father Time. Believe it or not, I actually channeled several books with him in the Time series books, and they explain absolute and relative time very well. For example, I'm going to tell you how it applies right now. When I was when I was growing up, I'm going to use personal experience. When I was growing up, I never felt that I had my own home, that I wasn't living in my own home. I was always living in somebody else's house. And my family, my family was very average. Nothing. There was no major problems or anything like that we experienced. But I never felt. I had brothers and sisters. I came from a family with 6 kids, and basically, I never felt like it was my home. I was always living there. What happened was then I carried that belief structure along with me when I got married and moved in, and I didn't feel it was my home either. I was able to do things. But when I reached that point where my belief structures kind of hit a brick wall, I hit a point where I backed myself into the corner, and I felt I'll tell you, I'll go back one step. I was working one day got squeezed out of my job. I got squeezed out of my home. I was dependent on other people. Lady Gaia came to me one day and she said, "Karen, you're going to have to get out more." I said to her, "Okay, I'll go to the library this afternoon." And 2 weeks later, I was homeless. So I had nothing. Basically, I had to start over and apply all this information in my own life that I had. The rule was I couldn't get a job. I had to start to apply the things in my own life. It has taken me a long time. So this building right here is my opportunity for me to start to create a new structure in my life. So I went like this, and then I went down into the abyss of homelessness. I lost my identity, I went down, and then I had to work my way back up based on the principles that I've learned was taught at the prayer circle and in the books. I had to come out of homelessness. I had to start to function and create a new identity for myself. I had to change my belief structures. I had to look, Lady Gaia told me, the earth is my home and everyone in it is my family. So that was the end of time for me, the end of a cycle. And then I had to go down, and then I was in homelessness. I was in absolute time. Absolute time is where you're in this continuum. Okay? I was out in the world. I was not in my home. I was not in a fixed place. I had to figure out where I was in this world and how to function within absolute time. I had unlimited choices. I could go anywhere on the planet, but then I had to decide which one was my world, which one was the world that I would feel comfortable in, that I would feel that I had a home. So I had to understand this idea of the end of relative time, going down into the abyss, into the idea of homelessness. It's called consciousness in spirituality. Consciousness is not, when you're conscious, it's not that you're part of consciousness, you're part of a group. The same thing happens when you're diagnosed with cancer, when you become a heart patient. You've been a heart attack, all of a sudden you have to change what you believe. You have to change what's going on. And the same thing happens with prophecies. Then you have to start to rebuild your life again. And the people who can't or won't build their life again, that is when they die, basically. They hit the point where they don't see they can get their life. You have to be flexible and to change the life you want to be able to get out of that idea. Okay, so when you change what you believe, you actually shift the paper into it, that's held at arm's length, to a different place. The same thing happens with prophecy, that when a prophet works, we can, if it's a warning, it's if you stay in that same belief structure, you're going to go down into the crisis. You could even die from it. Okay? Not that prophecy should be used as a threat like that, but it's Christmas time, and in the Christmas story, little Ralphie, you've probably seen the movie, you'll shoot your eye out, okay? All right, so you'll shoot your eye out. It's based on something kind of like that. If you basically have it as a promise, you have to change what you believe to get it. A lot of times it's like time, relative time is like a spindle, and papers are on it. And each paper is like an event in your life. But eventually, as you get older and you're getting ready to end the cycle, there's no more opportunities for you. And then people walk away from it because they can't figure out how to get their life. People who are 800 years old in the Bible, they understand how this has worked, and they believe that this is their purpose in life, and they're working, and that all of these ideas have to come together. If you want to consciously change from one place to the other, you have to align all your chakras and have all your proverbial ducks in a row to be able to move from one place to the other. I'm just telling you what's in a kind of an overview idea of the Time series books, but how that affects reality. If we are going to go along, world peace is kind of like bringing everything to an end. All these existential threats, we're all going down into the abyss as a planet. And now we have to, are we going to decide our future? Where are we going to focus next? Are we going to come out of the abyss by doing what's in everyone's best interest? Are we going to just wipe ourselves off the planet by not addressing existential threats? Or are we going to kind of like go on and just rely on the existing structure and just collapse under the collapse of the old structure because it's not solving problems? We have to start to change what we believe. What we believe is what is. And if we don't like it, it's time for us to, let's say, get all our ducks in a row, align all our chakras, deal with our enemies, our adversaries. We have to deal with the people who help us do it. We have to deal with our voice. We have to deal with God, the creators, our aliens, and we have to all the elemental kingdoms and things like that. So it's all part of this idea of understanding. If you are an alien and you have from another planet and you are coming here, you have to have all your ducks in a row for you to come here. You have to, otherwise your spaceship will crash. You have to have all your win-win agreements lined up. You have to have everybody working together, and that's part of that conflict resolution idea. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about today. You can, if you are, this is the perfect time, the Christmas holidays is a perfect time for you to kind of get your ducks in a row with your family. You're coming together, you're going to get your ducks in a row, proverbially speaking, and then you can work with that. And then on the New Year's, you can go into the faith of the pure ray, and then you can come up with a plan that benefits everyone, and then you can start around the planning circle and come up with a plan based on that, those conflict resolution brochures. So I ask that you like, share, and subscribe, but most of all share, because this information is important. There are a lot of people out there who've run out of time. Thank you. We actually have projects that deal with that, how to help people get out of their crisis, but we'll talk about that later. Thank you.